Whoa, Meringue! Look at this new place! How cool is this? I wonder who we'll meet here. Oh, someone had better come along here soon. I'm running out of... Oh, hey there, I'm Ruby. And wow, you sparkle just like a ruby too. Thanks? Whoa, Meringue! Meringue, what are you doing? Calm down, girl. It's okay. It's just a nice lady named Ruby here. Whoa! I'm so sorry. I don't know what got into her. Oh, it's okay. No worries. Seriously, don't sweat it. I guess we'll be on our way. Okay, bye-bye. That horse. She knows. Something is going on with Ruby. A seemingly sweet, giggly NPC or non-player character found on Desert Island. But looking closer, you'll find many unsettling secrets surrounding her history. We even have a tombstone in-game that reads Victim of Ruby. I mean, a grave that says Victim of Ruby. How could you not be suspicious? To start, Ruby's title is a nomad. For those of you that don't know, a nomad is a person who does not stay long in the same place, a wanderer. Now, why wouldn't Ruby want to stay in the same place for long? Is there something she's hiding? When you ask Ruby about Desert Island, she asks, "Have you tried the water from this oasis? It's to die for." Note that when she says die, it's colored red and in all caps. Did Ruby poison the water? After completing a few quests for Ruby, you'll get a special quest. This quest reveals a lot about Ruby. She then says, "Yes, my husband was in the middle of building a bridge on the canyon when he, well, fell." She then quickly switches away from that topic and says, "Anyways, it would be really awesome if you could help me finish building that bridge. You'll need some tools first. Go visit Hubert on Blizzard Island and borrow his tools." Did her husband really fall? Or did Ruby do something? Once you complete the bridge, you need to return Hubert, the Blizzard Island NPC's, tools. Hubert then says, "Thanks a lot. Hey, you be careful around Ruby. I'm not so sure about her. She seems off?" Once I finished the quest, I got a dialogue from Ruby thanking me. However, I had to redo the quest on my alt account to get these screenshots, and when finishing on my main account, I distinctly remember Ruby saying something along the lines of, "You didn't fall? I mean, wow, thanks for fixing the bridge." I don't have a screenshot of that. Either they updated the dialogue or there are multiple variations you can get. So, we know Hubert is wary of Ruby, but there's someone else who is downright terrified of her. So once you unlock Volcano Island, you meet the NPC Burns. Now, Burns appears to be very scared of Ruby. When you speak to him, he says one of two things. One being, "What do you want?" And the other being, "You haven't seen Ruby around here, have you? Never mind. What do you want?" If he asks if you've seen Ruby, his face also switches to a pained, crying face, and he also seems more panicked instead of his usual laid-back self. If you ask Burns if he can tell you about the island, he says, Fine. Volcano Island was only recently discovered after a violent earthquake was felt off the coast of Royal Island. After some exploring, mappers located this new piece of land. It seemingly sprung up overnight. I heard the news and took the boat here right away. I've been trying to distance myself from a certain person. I don't want to talk about it, okay? It's dangerous here, which is exactly what I needed. For someone like you, though, try to avoid the lava and falling ash. Geysers are cool, but dangerous. So, he refers to a certain person. This certain person is likely referring to Ruby. Why was he so desperate to get away? And why did he need somewhere dangerous? Some people have been speculating that Burns is Ruby's husband. I think that this is a logical explanation. I mean, Ruby could have pushed him off that bridge, but Burns survived and fled. That would explain why he's so paranoid about Ruby finding him and needing to stay on Volcano Island, a dangerous island, so that Ruby wouldn't come for him there. But why would Ruby do that to her own husband? What's her motive behind her madness? To find the answer, we can look at the NPC Pearl. who appears on the island of Lost Souls during the Halloween event. She adds more questions into the mix. Pearl is a witch who can be seen holding a book of spells near a cauldron. Also, notice how similar Pearl and Ruby look. They're both named after some sort of precious resource, Pearl and Ruby. They have similar outfits, and they have the same skin tone and hair color. I think that Pearl could be Ruby's sister. Ruby's sister. A witch. If you ask Pearl what's going on, she responds with, This is Cauldron. What's that? Why yes, Cauldron is a person. And Cauldron, demands we feed him more souls. They make Cauldron, feel alive. You should see some souls flying around here somewhere. Just grab them with your hands and bring them to me. For every 15 souls we feed Cauldron, he will give you something in return. Now hurry, child. He's starving. He'll eat as many as you have, so keep them coming. If you ask Pearl if she wants your souls, she responds with, Yes, Ruby, Cauldron, wants 15 at a time. Hand them over. Funny how she says Ruby before correcting herself to Cauldron. And she says that Cauldron is a person. This leads me to believe that Ruby is in fact the Cauldron, starving for souls. Souls of people or horses from the suspectedly poisoned oasis. Did she go after her own husband in search of obtaining his soul? Based on the above information, I compiled all of it into a huge theory of Ruby, which I will now share with you. Ruby is some sort of monster that either survives off of or collects power from souls. Ruby's sister, Pearl, helps her get these souls that she needs. They use a magic cauldron which allows Ruby and the cauldron to be connected into one, meaning that Ruby is the cauldron and the cauldron is Ruby. He's starving, Pearl explains to anyone passing by. Souls go into the cauldron, souls go into Ruby, and so she gets souls. However, souls from Pearl aren't enough for Ruby, so she takes matters into her own hands. Ruby poisons the oasis's water. She then takes the soul of anyone who drinks it. She tries to take your soul too, by telling you how the oasis water is to die for. Ruby also has many sarcophaguses, which are like coffins. Hubert begins to notice that something is off about Ruby. He warns others to be careful around her, but even all of the souls Ruby is getting is still not enough. Ruby gets so desperate that she decides to try and take the soul of her own husband, Burns. Burns and Ruby both know magic. Ruby with her soul-consuming, and Burns with his book of rituals and runestone. Burns' soul could possibly be more powerful since he has magic too. Ruby knows that the bridge on Desert Island is broken and decides to take that opportunity. She asks Burns if he can fix it for her. Because it's a hazard. He agrees and goes up to fix it. Ruby then sneaks up from behind him and pushes him off the side. Burns manages to survive. Ruby looks for him to collect his soul, but Burns had escaped. She looks from everywhere, but eventually gives up. She goes back to collecting more souls. The more she gets, the more starving for them she becomes. Burns now knows that Ruby, his wife, betrayed him. He realizes that he must get as far away from her as he can. A newly discovered dangerous island seems like the perfect place to hide. He goes there and makes it his new home. But even in the dangerous safety of Volcano Island, he's constantly paranoid that Ruby will come back for him. Burns asks anyone who comes across his path if they've seen Ruby. Even though Volcano Island seems dangerous enough to keep Ruby away, Burns is still worried, to this day, that Ruby will come for him. But hey, that's just a theory, a Wild Horse Islands theory.